Welcome back to the channel, the Inner West Network. I just want to talk about another game today. Well, actually, no, this is the first game I actually be talking about. It's actually called Ender Lilies, for anyone that's actually heard of this game before. Quietus of the Nights. That's what I'm going to go ahead and say what that says. It's more of it's not a metroidvania game. I actually wanted to talk about this for a while, but it was still in early access, which it still is. I believe the official release date is in another week or two. I know they're releasing this game on the Nintendo Switch this month, probably later in are we in June? Yeah, later in June. They have a release date for that. If you check the Play Store, the App Store. So anyway, the Nintendo Online Shop, the eShop, set up and stuff all over the place. But anyway, what I noticed about this game immediately was when I first saw it, I said, you know what? I like the graphics because I'm really used to playing games like these. I know we typically talk about Hollow Knight and other, games similar to it, but I was never a huge Hollow Knight fan to begin with, right? Never was. I mean, it's a good game, don't get me wrong. I like Hollow Knight, but it shouldn't, to me, it's not the standard of the Metroidvania type Castlevania games I like playing. I'm big on Blasphemous and a few others, and I'll talk about that game in a little bit too. But what I noticed about this game is typically these it was only like maybe 300, 400 something megabytes. So it's not a big, huge game. They tend to be able to be completed in a couple hours, depending on the skill level of the person actually playing, right? And so far, the game has been pretty good. I like the graphics itself. You have the ability to kill certain enemies, like specialized enemies like this, but they're in certain locations of the map where they're bigger and they act as mini bosses. Or in some cases, they feel more like bosses than the actual bosses themselves. And you unlock their power as you fight them, basically. Other than that, you have your standard attacks like you normally do, jump, slide. You have special abilities where you can actually, right here, go to your menu. You can have spirits. So instead of having traditional weapons like most games, you have spirits, and you have two sets of attack settings where you can actually decide what attacks you want to use. And I'm going to give you an example of that. So for my regular attack, I'm using a sword. For my Y, I have the ability to shoot fireballs. This one, it's a bird where every time it sees an enemy, it'll shoot at them. And as you power up these special attacks, basically they have different patterns of how the attacks actually work, which is a pretty cool feature. Dodge there. I got hit actually. Other than that, I can honestly say that this typically plays like what's a good game I can give an example of. It's not many examples, to be honest. It's a Metrovania, basically. It's a Metrovania with like I said, decent graphics, very clear. I haven't had any issues with lag, anything like that. The boss battles are challenging to a certain extent, but it's not nerve-wracking. Like, you're not going to have to play like a Dark Souls type game where the difficulty is extremely high. You're not going to experience that. Like, for the most part, enemies doesn't have really big enemy variety either, to be honest. But again, I don't think that's what they were going for. Like, the story kind of it's a little over the. I'm about to die. The story's a little all over the place for me, to be honest. Like, there isn't any voice overs, I believe. It's more so you're reading what's happening in the stories. And as you unlock certain enemies in the game, your character actually becomes more and more corrupted. So I'm sure that has something to do with the actual story itself. Of course, they don't really explain anything about that as you're playing the story. All you know is that, there was a maiden that purified the land, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil the story. And something happened where, you wake up and, like, the land is corrupted. I'm assuming the good lost, if you want to call it that. And here we are. I want to say the character's name is Lily. After all, it's called Ender Lilies. But like I said, it takes a combination of different moves, different combos to fight certain bosses. You can't go in gung-ho like a Dark Souls game where there's no real level up progressive system, if that makes sense. To me, it's more so as you attack, if you look on the left-hand screen where it says 38, I'm currently level 38, right? And as you keep leveling up, I guess, and your base stats do go up. I mean, they say that, but to be honest, my character, if anything, I feel like I've gotten weaker over time, where certain enemies, when I revisit older areas of enemies that were substantially weaker, they've gotten stronger and they actually take more damage away from me. So it looks like, again, I could be wrong about this, but it looks like every time you go to a different area and you go back to a previous area, rather than making you so overpowered that you could just completely one-shot everything like a Dark Souls or a Salt and Sanctuary game, it's power-based level, which I do like that. I like that feature where I can power up the sword, I can power up certain weapons, and that's how strong they get. You use certain artifacts and you find items in the game that permanently increase your health as time goes on, rather than you farming certain enemies and you can just keep leveling up until you're able to beat a boss. You do have to think about what you're doing as you're fighting each boss, because 1 or 2 hits could literally kill you, especially since some bosses can do combos, and if you get caught in that, it's pretty much over. But anyway, everything that you see in this, I should have said this in the beginning of the video, any footage that you see right now is basically actual footage from my computer. So if someone tries to say, you know, oh no, he stole that footage, no, this is me. I have purchased the game. I believe it was $29, or was it $29? I think it's $29.99. I was hoping that I could play the whole game, but because it's early access, you're able to fight, like, I want to say a couple of bosses out of the game you're able to fight. And then after that, it actually tells you this is the early access version, and it kind of stops your playthrough from there. So I did put in about 6 hours of the game. And that includes me just sitting here, going to get something to eat, coming back, just taking my time, learning how to counter. Because again, as you find more relics, these are relics, as you can see right here. This gentleman, this big guy right here, is one of the bosses in the game. But each relic, as you get them, they're either a mini boss or they're a real boss. And it kind of tells you the story of each character as you go, and you find more and more about, not necessarily, I don't know if this is Lily's past, or I don't know if it's someone else's memories that you're learning. Again, I don't know, because I found some girls that looked just like Lily throughout the game that were already dead, I guess, and they kind of had an item on them and you picked it up. So again, I'm pretty sure the game might have a twist to it, but I don't think it's going to be like some deep meaning, because typically these 2D side scrollers are just one-track minded hack and slashes, and then when you're done, you're done. You don't get a deeper meaning. You're not getting some amazing backstory or anything like that. But I like this game. It's pretty good. It reminds me a lot of I don't want to disrespect this game. This game reminds me of Visual. Is that what it's called? Something Visual of the Night. Vigil. That's what it is. Vigil. Which I'll do a review on that one too. It reminds me of Vigil when it comes to the quality of the graphics, but I will say that this is definitely a step up from that game, because Visual kind of reminds me of a stiff storybook, the way the characters move, while this actually is much more fluid. I love it. It's a great game. So anyway, that's just my quick review about the game. Just saying, you know what, for the price, definitely pick it up. What I will say is, if you get this on Nintendo Switch right now during the pre-order stage, I think it's like 10% off, so you'll end up paying like $24 rather than the $29.99, which, to be honest, is $29 for a game. It's a side scroller. It's good. I like it. The music, I love the music so far. Like, normally I play games without my headphones, but for this and Resident Evil 8, I have played them both with my headphones in, and the music's really immersive. I like it. I think it really suits each area that you're in. It's not bad. It has a pretty good soundtrack. Alright, that's about it. If you like what you hear, pick up the game. Support the developer. It's awesome. This isn't Cyberpunk. They actually are taking time to make a good game. So, that's about it. See you in the next one.